Hey everybody, welcome to the 40 Finance channel. My name's Jeff Beers. Today I'm talking about the balance between money and time and how at different stages in your life you have to invest more of the resource that you have more of in order to make things grow down the line. It's a conundrum that almost everybody goes through in their life. We know we want to grow income, but depending on which stage you're at, you only have so much of either one of these things, time or money, in order to grow your income. Let's take a look at some of the things you can do to maximize most of your assets at the right time in your life. Okay, so this chart I found very interesting. I came across it from a website called Crux Research. It really illustrates what we all go through at different cycles in our life and what we have available to us. The timeline here is preschool through retirement, and for the purposes of what we're talking about today, growing our income, we're just going to skip through to the end of high school. And blue is the income, and yellow is the time that you have, discretionary time that you have. And you can see that coming from high school and into college, how your discretionary time increases dramatically all the way through college. Your discretionary time through your 40s drops significantly. And then after your 40s, as you head into retirement, obviously you get some more time back through there. Your income, though, over this time period is growing at a steady pace. So as you begin to have less time to do things, you should have more income to make money, buy you time, so to speak, or buy you effort. And that's the perfect balance between money and time if you can recreate this chart. The problem is not everybody can, and there's a lot of factors that go into it. But if you come out of here, let's say you come out of college and you're working for minimum wage jobs, then your time is going to go down and meet up with your income, which is a bad balance to be. You don't want to have no money and no time. You have to have bigger shares of one or the other so that you can grow your income. So in the example I just said, if you had 3 part-time jobs for minimum wage that you spent 70 to 80 hours a week working those jobs, a low-paying job may just be enough to cover your bills. So particularly if you have an apartment, a car payment, all those things are going to add up very quickly. So if you're working every hour of the day to just pay the bills that you already have, then there's a couple things that you obviously have to do. You either have to make more money with your time, you have to cut down expenses, or you have to cut down the time you're spending at work so that you can start a new venture that will grow your income even more. And I think that that is really the key to success for the younger folks who are still in college or just coming out of college. If you do follow this chart and you have this much time between you and your income for whatever reason it is. Obviously, when you're studying in college, you may not have a part-time job. You might have student loans or whatever it is. So school doesn't take 80 hours unless you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer, right? So school does take time, but you have an abundance of additional time where you need to be creating and starting a business or a service so that you can begin this income rise that will be very important as soon as you hit 30 years old. Now, when you come out of college, you're obviously going to get into a work week that could span 40 to 60 hours. It's going to pay you more money than you were making in college, so your income is going to go up, but your time is going to come down. So in this critical juncture, you have to ask yourself, what is the best investment for my time, for my money? So if you just took the first job you could get out of college, and let's just say that it makes $35,000 a year and you're a marketing assistant or something at a medium-sized business, and you do it to get the experience, to get the job, that's great. But as soon as you hit either the year mark or 2-year mark, as soon as you've absorbed every skill you can acquire from that position, because the position is taking up the majority of your discretionary time, you need to flip to the higher paying job as soon as possible. And you need to do that all throughout your 20s and honestly probably through your 30s as well. You don't have extra time to build another business because you're putting all your time into working, which is fine. But that just means the time you spend working has to absolutely maximize your income in every way possible. Now, if you're lucky and you just work a straight 40-hour work week and you're not married and you don't have kids, then you actually do have some time in the evenings and the weekends where you can keep your entry-level job, so to speak, but you could be building a business or an education or a service in the back burner on nights and weekends, so that overall from a weekly basis, from the totality of the time you have from when you wake up to when you go to bed, has been maximized with business and income opportunities. So for example, you could conceivably work as the marketing assistant for 40 hours a week and have a small landscape business on the side. And that landscape business might be 3 of your neighbors that you're doing, right? Everything from the mulch to the mowing of the grass to the raking of the leaves. And there will be peaks and valleys in there on the services that they need. So springtime will be heavier with mulch and flowers and all those things. Through the summer will be consistent where you're just mowing every week. And then in the autumn, you get into cleanup and leaves and all those things. The key is to have just enough clients to service with your discretionary time. So you're basically doing 2 things at once. And when you get off work or over the weekend, you do the lawn work for your clients. And that's an easy way for you to make extra income. As it slowly goes along, you may decide, wow, I've had 40 people want me to do the same thing for them. Is it worth dedicating to a business? That will be the time when you'll just have to manage the costs, expenses, and compare it with your salary and see what works. But in the short term, you're just trying to maximize the income coming in. Same could be said for a female or male in the service industry who wants to do something like hair or nails or professional training. All those services are services that can be had after 5 o'clock and on the weekends, so they're great opportunities to make more money. Now, as you head into the land where I am when you're at your 30s and 40s and your discretionary time falls significantly, and I can tell you that is for sure. I have 3 kids and a house and 2 cars, so there's lots of stuff to manage. There's not a lot of extra time, yet I still make time for things like this YouTube channel. Even though it's small, it may turn into something. I also have some side businesses that I work on as well. So I'm always looking for options to increase my income, and I'm always testing my skills. The goal for me is to test, how much am I worth as an employee for X amount of services? How much can I generate from this side business? How much can I generate if I didn't have an employer and I was just on my own? And I test those skills and I try to learn new ones and spin those up as well. It's a lot of work to do these things and to test them. And of course, I'm lucky because some things have went well. So I actually have the income to pay the bills while I'm experimenting. But I've been running experiments like this, small side hustles and businesses for so long. And I've been fortunate enough to get 3 or 4 that have been very sustainable in addition to my employment, that I've sort of reached a place where I have multiple income streams. That being said, I'm not a millionaire or Warren Buffett, so I'm always looking for ways to tweak so that we can earn more income as a household across all places. So in my life, I'm down at the point where discretionary time is basically at 0. I can create more by giving up on opportunities, and sometimes I do that. But for the most part, I try to use most of my discretionary time to roll into businesses that are already working, services that I can manage to do for people to earn income, anything I can do to get more dollars coming in the door, even if I don't have a specific need for them. That's the money that I use towards a lot of the investments that I talk about here on this channel. And guys, if you do it all right at the end of the day, then you finally reach the time in 50s in retirement where discretionary time goes back up again and a lot of your obligations go down. So maybe you've paid off your house, maybe your kids have launched their careers. The costs go down, time goes up. And if your income and assets have grown along the way, then you've really reached a sweet spot, even way before retirement age, that your costs are fairly fixed, your income's coming in, and you get to make the choices on what you want to do. I think the real key to success, though, and one of the things that why I'm always tweaking the knobs and buttons of my income and my businesses is because I'd really like to reach this point here much sooner. So, 50 for me is kind of a goal that I have in mind. And there's an outside chance that it could happen even sooner if I produce the income to sustain it. And I think that's a lot of the keys that gets overlooked on investing is everyone wants to know, well, what are the cheapest stocks? What are the best investments for $1,000? You know what? The best investment for $1,000 is truly yourself or trying to start a business. It has nothing to do with the stock market. If you have a 401k and the employer match and you want to go through that, then that's just fine. But I would take the $1,000 and I would immediately invest it into skills or businesses that can grow this entire time frame in a much shorter period. All right, so that's the presentation on time versus money and how to balance it all in order to grow your income. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Please hit the like button if you did and subscribe to the channel. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video.